While being a famous actor might be some people's idea of a dream job, it's not for everyone. Excruciatingly long hours, complete loss of anonymity, and the harsh glare of media attention all take their toll, and not everyone can stick it out. Whether it's because of personal tragedy, being fed up with the whole business, or sometimes just nobody wanting to watch you anymore. Ouch. Occasionally, celebrities just walk away from acting altogether. Take it from me, I was the baby from Labyrinth. And I'm also Nostalgic Nick with Do You Remember? And today we're looking at some of the biggest stars who quit the Hollywood rat race to work normal jobs. Be sure to hit that normal thumbs up button for us, and subscribe to our channel for more. But come on, let's get to the quitters. Danny Lloyd. When your first film role is in one of the greatest, most suspenseful movies of all time, directed by one of the 20th century's great auteurs, it follows that the sky's the limit, and a long, fruitful career is ahead of you. But then imagine that you're 6-year-old Danny Lloyd. You're in Kubrick's terrifying 1980 hit The Shining, running around a massive hotel with the crazed Jack Nicholson. And it starts to make sense why you kept running out of Hollywood. In fact, Lloyd had no idea he was even in a horror flick. Kubrick was able to shoot each of his scenes in such a way that Lloyd supposedly thought he was just appearing in a family drama, with axes and a lot of blood. But whatever the reason, Lloyd left Hollywood at the age of 10, and now is a professor of biology in Elizabethtown, Kentucky, a far less spooky career. Jeff Cohen.
First you gotta do the truffle shuffle.
1985's The Goonies contains so many iconic moments that it's almost unfair. And some of the movie's most memorable scenes involve the hilarious and rotund Chunk. From his iconic and embarrassing truffle shuffle to his panicked flailing as Francis tries to wrestle him into the trunk of the car. Chunk helped make this movie hilarious and made child actor Jeff Cohen into a massive star. Cohen could have gone on to have a long, productive career in front of the camera, but his time on set ironically led him down a different path. Cohen used his connections from the Goonies to get summer jobs on the business side of movie making, and soon fell in love with life behind the camera. He quit acting in 1991, instead going to law school and becoming one of the nation's preeminent entertainment lawyers, even founding his own firm in 2002. Not bad for a kid whose rumbly tummy used to spell trouble. Rick Moranis.
I can't breathe in this thing!
Comedian Rick Moranis was undoubtedly one of the biggest stars of the 1980s, with credits like Ghostbusters and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Few other actors could get the kind of laughs that his nerdy, glasses-sporting on-screen personas garnered. It seemed as if nothing could derail Moranis' career. Surely the original Spaceball would be making films for the foreseeable future, right?
Are you alright, sir? Fine. How have you been?
But terribly, Moranis' wife tragically died of cancer in 1991, leaving him struggling to balance an acting career with his 2 young children. Moranis gradually began to take on fewer and fewer roles until in 1997, he decided he'd had enough and quit Hollywood to work full-time at one of life's hardest jobs, the single parent. Moranis hasn't been seen on the big screen since, but keep an eye out for the rumored reboot of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, entitled Shrunk. Mara Wilson. One of the biggest child stars of the 1990s, with roles in the outrageously funny Mrs. Doubtfire and the remake of Miracle on 34th Street. Few actors of any age had the innocent charm of this precocious young talent. And then Wilson starred in Matilda as the utterly lovable telekinetic title character. And now all of Hollywood was at her feet. But that celebrity life just wasn't for her. And at the ripe age of 13, Wilson quit acting in movies altogether. She instead concentrated on her schooling and graduated from NYU's Tisch School of the Arts in 2009. These days, Wilson is an accomplished writer. Her play Sheeple premiered at the New York Fringe Festival. And in 2016, she published a memoir titled Where Am I Now? True stories of girlhood and accidental fame. But I think she'll always be Matilda in our hearts. Jerry Mathers. In the late 50s and early 60s, you'd be hard-pressed to find a more popular sitcom than Leave It to Beaver, focusing on an idealized suburban family. The show followed the adventures of the young rapscallion Theodore Beaver Cleaver, played by child star Jerry Mathers, and the irrepressibly adorable Beaver won America's hearts.
Okay, I'll go out and have fun if I have to.
And Mathers easily could have continued down the Hollywood trail, but after his show ended in 1963, the young star decided to focus on high school, and then took up the most logical career for a former child star, by joining the United States Air Force. Mathers would eventually become a sergeant, before being discharged and starting a career in commercial real estate development. Quite the upstanding path for the old neighborhood cut-up. Shirley Temple.
And the most crackers in my soup, monkeys and rabbits, loop-a-loop.
Most celebrities who decide that the glitz and glamour of the spotlight aren't for them instead turn to something more mundane and everyday. They become teachers, lawyers, or stay home to raise their kids. But a very select few quit Hollywood and somehow stumble into an even bigger and better thing. Enter the quintessential child star Shirley Temple. By the age of 22, Temple had starred in a ridiculous amount of films, 43 to be exact. And she was fed up with the whole ordeal, so she quit movies forever. But did she run off to make furniture in some random rural town? No. She first sat on the boards of the Walt Disney Corporation and the National Wildlife Federation, before later being named the actual US ambassador to both Czechoslovakia, followed by Ghana. I mean, after all, she is Shirley Temple. Somehow that fits. Michael Schaffling. Michael burst onto the Hollywood scene in 1984 when he won the role of Molly Ringwald's love interest Jake Ryan in 16 Candles. Ryan was popular and hunky, yet super sensitive, like we all are, and the role kinda set Schaffling up to be the next big teen heartthrob of the 80s. But unfortunately for him, things didn't turn out as planned, and despite a handful of supporting roles in such films as Mermaids, Pretty Cool, and Let's Get Harry, woof.
You're supposed to be Harry's best friend, and we are.
Michael's nascent film career soon fizzled out, which led him to, you guessed it, retiring to small-town Pennsylvania to handcraft wooden furniture. Michael to this day leads a very private life, and even the name of his furniture is to this point unknown. Such an unstereotypical end to the tale of a teen idol. Peter Ostrom.
I got a golden ticket, I got a golden chance to make my way.
Peter must have thought he had found his own golden ticket when he got cast as Charlie Bucket in 1971's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Overnight, he went from ordinary middle school student with a slight interest in acting to one of the biggest child stars in Hollywood. But the acting bug only bit Ostrom for so long. Around the same time he shot Wonka, Ostrom became absolutely obsessed with horses. And after the movie became a massive hit, he was offered a 3-picture deal that would inevitably make him a massive star. But to the surprise of all, he turned it down in order to get his doctorate in veterinary medicine from Cornell University. But Ostrom still regularly speaks to school children about his one starring role, and also still receives around $9 in royalty payments every 3 months. That basically pays for Netflix right there. I mean, it depends on how many screens you have, you know. Phoebe Cates. Certainly one of the biggest bombshells of the 1980s. Beginning her career as a ballet dancer and model, Kate soon turned to acting and became a star, with roles in movies like Spielberg's classic Gremlins. But it was really 1982's Fast Times at Ridgemont High that thrust her into the national spotlight. I mean, anyone with a pulse remembers Kate's. Dripping water slowly emerging from that pool in a sexy red swimsuit. A scene that Rolling Stone magazine labeled the greatest bikini drop in cinema history, I might add. But love beats everything, and there is more to life than being a star. So after marrying famous actor Kevin Kline and having 2 children, Cates left the film industry to focus on their family. These days she runs the upscale boutique, Blue Tree in Manhattan, but no word yet if they're stocked on those red bikinis. I mean, could you do it? Could you turn down a life in Hollywood, the money, the fame, for a so-called normal life? These stars did. So let's talk. Which of these stars do you wish would have done more projects before calling it quits? Did we miss any stars who hung up their hats early? Please let us know in the comments below. We read every one. And if you enjoyed our video, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. From all of us here at Do You Remember, I was not the baby from Labyrinth, and thank you very much for watching.